President Macron was busy polishing his green credentials. He pledged 15 billion euros in fresh funding to help France transition to a green economy. Well, Macron's announcement follows his République En Marche party being routed in local elections on Sunday, failing to win a single big city. Well, Green candidates had an historic breakthrough, winning in major cities like Lyon, Bordeaux and Strasbourg. For more on this, I'm joined by Christopher Dickey, foreign editor for The Daily Beast, and he's in Paris. Well, good evening. Many thanks for joining us on Euronews tonight. So what do you think of the timing of all of this? Because Macron announces 15 billion euros in funding for green investment, green stimulus. He didn't mention the municipal elections where he's done extremely badly. Do you think he's trying to appeal to voters who rejected him at this vote?
I think that he saw this green wave coming. It was no secret that this was going to happen, or something like it was going to happen. Maybe the route was a little bit worse than he had anticipated. So he certainly knew that the timing of these remarks would coincide with the results of the municipal elections. And yes, he does want to make a bid for the Greens to say, my government listens to you. We are addressing these issues, maybe not all the issues you want, but we are going to transform the economy of France with this $15 billion. Whether he can really do that is a whole different question, but there's no question he's making a bid for those Green voters.
A bid for those Green voters. Do you think he is concerned that his bid for the presidency then, that will be the upcoming vote there, that could be in peril, and he's hoping to get those voters on side?
I think he absolutely is. You know, the way French presidential elections work, in the first round, it's really a fractured scene. Often the people who go into the second round only have 14, 18, 20% of the vote. So when it's fractured like that, if you have a major political movement like the Greens are in this country that doesn't support you, or that all vote for a Green candidate, it can create chaos before you go into the second round. For the moment, we all think that probably it will be Emmanuel Macron against Marine Le Pen again, as it was in 2017. But it isn't clear that he will make it into the second round or she will make it into the second round. It also is clear that Marine Le Pen and the Front National, or what used to be the Front National, did even worse than Macron in these elections.
Absolutely. And then if we look at these municipal elections a little bit more closely now, because it's been described as a green wave sweeping over France. And as we were just saying, French President Macron has been adopting these very strong green policies. So what can we expect in terms of change? Is this really a major turning point for France as it moves to a greener economy?
Well, it's very tough. You know, $15 billion or 15 billion euros isn't going to go all that far when you have an economy that's already seriously depleted by the COVID-19 crisis. You also have a huge problem of a rural-urban divide. The big cities did go for the Greens, but a lot of the small towns did not. They are not enthusiastic about the kinds of green measures that we're discussing. They like their cars, they like to drive, or they feel that they have to drive. Whereas in the cities, you've got good public transport, you've got the ability to live without a car. I don't have a car, for instance. I live in Paris. If you live in the countryside or in the smaller towns, that's not an option. And that is precisely what provoked the Gilets jaunes uprising in 2018. What was it? A green tax being put on fuel and demands being put on you to get your car up to standard to meet emission standards. Those were expenses that people in rural France did not think they could bear, and that's why they marched on the cities. If he pushes through these green measures, he will have, again, a major confrontation brewing with rural France.
Okay, well, potentially creating divisions there in France. Thanks so much for joining us, Christopher Dickey there from The Daily Beast.